Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the NRL SuperCoach BDE podcast. Not the usual boys here tonight, just myself, usually Chris in the host chair, and Simon is also away. Both boys well and truly under the weather. I was just talking to Chris then, and boy howdy, for your ears and mine, listeners, I do not want to hear that. We will get cracking with the first game of round 10. We're only 1 week away from Magic Round. Last weekend was a great weekend of footy. Really enjoyed it. So, yeah, this one, Dolphins, my boys, the Dolphins, up against the Dogs, who are finding themselves in a bit of a rough spot. The Dogs, they'll need to find something here. Same backline for the Dogs, beautiful. They're starting all the same players, starting to get a bit of consistency there. One to note on the Dog sides, it's Tilly Tupanua, named in the edge back row again this week. Really love that for Tilly. Just noted last week, Curran came in and started. So Tilly's still put up like a 60-odd. Still was really good. So I think if he's out there on waivers, I'd definitely be happy to pick him up. And if you got him last week, you'll be cheering because he put out a good effort and can play in your FRF. So that's really good. There, over to the Dolphins. Jack Bostock keeps the spot there at centre, which is pretty cool. He played okay last weekend. They won, so they beat the Storm. Brad Schneider named to start at 6. I will note, listeners, though, Cody Nikarima named in the 18 jersey. So that is one to note. I would assume Brad Schneider comes on in and, does the work. Well, probably goes to the bench, sorry. Running through the rest of the team, Max Plath named to start at 13. Wonders we do see on the bench is Jeremy Marshall-King, JMK. Yes, correct, Amundo. Will in the chat. Sorry about the chat tonight, boys. I won't be able to bring your questions up on the screen. That's a Redford thing. I'm not entirely that good at technology, but Will Clark has said JMK back. So for all those truthers who, like myself, held on to him, or even if he's out there on waivers, JMK. Yes, Pookley Woo says JMK is going to annoy him by getting 20 points. Yeah, he probably will, mate. I would expect minimal minutes. That's a tough one. Starting up, sort of looking to get back to that. And also, Maxi Plath's been really good at hooker, so they don't have to rush him back in. They can give him 20 here and get those minutes under his legs. So I'd expect him to play some this week. Trey Fuller named in the 20, unfortunately, for those who did pick him up a few weeks ago. But that's a really exciting one for Thursday night. Moving on to Friday, we have the Roosters versus the Titans. Don't know about this one for the Titans fans. Friday night in Sydney could be a long night. I see a Zane Harrison named at 7 here for the Titans. Not going to think he's going to go too great. Jaden Campbell still named at the 6. A new addition on the wing there, Jensen Toimapea. So he's one that probably can be left out on free agency, to be perfectly honest. We've seen Faimani do okay there, but hasn't been a crazy wing spot. And also having Buddy up against the Roosters this weekend could be a bit tough. Oliver Pascoe against starts. One we do see here, there's a question from Pookley Woo in the chat. He says, you reckon Bye worth a waiver? Mate, I'm all about Cooper Bye getting massive minutes. PPM Machine has a crazy offload game. Tackle busting, like he's the real deal, and to get him some minutes here, pretty keen on that. Over to the Roosters, man, pretty much the same backline. Cozy Ramsey comes in on the wing for Mark Nawangani Tawasi. I do think you should be going out and having a look at Cody Ramsey if he's going to get that spot there, man. Like that's a pretty decent spot and a pretty good Roosters team there. They got some games. Credit to Redford. They got some games coming up. He was all about this that are going to be pretty juicy for SuperCoach. So I'll be going out and spending a waiver on Cody Ramsey. Full disclosure, haven't had a crazy good look at the team yet, so team list yet. So I can't really, go on whether I'd waiver him as one, but pretty cool. All right, I've got some questions in the chat. I have an offer for Marky Mark and Hudson to receive Jenkins and Fafita. Depending on situation here, Lockie, I probably would keep the Huddy and Mark. Probably would keep Huddy and Young at the moment. Geez, that's tough. And 8 to 12 for Marky Mark, or is it 6 to 8? Geez, Jenkins and Fafita. I'd prefer to have Huddy Young, but that's just me. Would you drop any of C&K? I will get to that question when I get to the Warriors, mate. I got one from Will Cluck here on JMK. Early trade chat, been offered Blaze for JMK. Have CHT as my 5'8". Yeah, dude, I've got CHT as my 5'8". I'd probably be taking JMK for Blaze. Just come season's end, like 5'8's, it is what it is. You know, Blaze hasn't been exactly crazy killing it. CHT's been super solid. You got that guy. The Warriors are on bye this weekend though, bro. So I would be looking at that. If you can pick up Mahoney, Starling, that basic type of hooker. Yeah, dude, I really like the Blaze for JMK, but this week I would probably decline it just because CHT is on bye this weekend. And I just play Reed Money. He played for me last week. So, flying solo, Meso. It's tough out here, mate. The boys are sick, unfortunately. AJ Meso has mentioned Tommy Talau when fit could come back and then take that spot, man. He definitely could, but Tommy Talau, like, he's as good as he's been when he's come in and played in this Rooster team. Like, Cody Ramsey, they're pretty high on Cody Ramsey there. So if he plays these next two games pretty well, you can see him pretty much keeping that. Apart from that, everything else is pretty much the same for the Roosters there. Guys, if I do miss something, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. On to my Cowboys. Mate, I had a chance to start 4 Cowboys this weekend. Only chose to start 3 of them. Oh, it's not easy being me, mate. Mate, 1 through 7 from last week for the Cowboys. Jason Tamalolo, should we just talk about how good he's been this year? Unreal. Supercoach-wise, obviously not going to put up those Lolo bloody scores we want from years back, but he still put up a 66 on the weekend. I thought he was really good, and he's really building into that role. Hey, like, he's putting in some work. So Lolo as a FRF2, like an everyday, yeah, he's getting up to that like 50. If you get him seeing him getting those extra minutes like we did on the weekend, and he gets that offload going, dude, like, he could be a 55 guy and not hurt you at front row with a little bit of upside, but like just a free agent stash there, guys. Anyway, Sam McIntyre's at the edge. Obviously, Nanai out, dude. You don't like to see it, like coming back from an injury, shoulder. It's going to be tough, but I would definitely – we've seen what Sam McIntyre's done at 2RF. We talked about him before. Can hit some upside every now and then, but not crazy. He has that dual possibility. But, yeah, it'll be Sam McIntyre on edge. I'm not frothing it, not running out to get him. Can let you down with a sort of a low 30 score. So, yeah. Over to the Eels, man. Joe Ash keeps the spot there. Joe Ash keeps the spot there. You got Sam Rani comes back into the centres. This team, I mean, the Eels, this game could be like 66-50. Like, that's how crazy this game honestly could be. Eels showed a little bit against the Wires. Like, I didn't hate what they were doing, but just it is not a team, are they? It's not a team that has like that locked in. You know, Mitchie Mo's locked in, but just who's winning games here, dog? Like, there's no one there. They really, really need the fullback back. What's his face? I lost his name. Anyway, moving on. Ronald Volkman keeps the 6th jersey. He scored a try on the weekend. Old Ronald Volkman. Not really much here to talk about the Eels. Redford's man, Kalmar. Yeah, he scored a 64 on the weekend. But, look, he's Redford's guy, not my kind of guy. It is what it is. He's putting up some scores when he's getting the minutes. 80 minutes on the weekend, so that's pretty much it. No one really come back into that squad this week. Just look at the reserves. Nothing really there. Well, nothing doing. All right, 3 p.m. on a Saturday. What a game. High-flying Newcastle Knights up against the Dragons. Dragons coming off the bye. Don't know how much you read into that, but this team is an absolute Barry Crocker. Toby Couchman named the front row. Ryan Couchman on the edge. Dylan Egan is the inclusion this week. Good to have him back after the bye. Obviously, Lucy has not been anywhere near the team. Yeah, Will in the chat said dead game. Absolutely. I think the Newcastle Knights playing a really good brand of football. Really like what they're doing, man. It's fun to watch. Like, really good. Do you, mate? Livid. Anyway, so look, Dylan Egan's a big one back in there. I would assume that in most leagues he has been owned, but if you have seen someone in your league who had was like a roster squeeze, or he's been dropped and is out there on waivers, I'd be spending my number one on him, no doubt. Damien Cook's back. Can't wait to run him this weekend. Over to the Knights. Pretty much a settled team now. Got KP back at the back, and boy, howdy, did he look good. Hey, any Knights guys out there, they'll be frothing this lineup. Fletcher Sharp didn't even have to do much last week. Still scored a 58. Completely fine your 5'8". Yeah, I would be green lighting every single player in this back line here for the Knights, just for sure, because there's going to be tries. Margie was 131 last week. He looked unbelievable. Dylan Lucas back. Jermaine McEwen, for those guys who are holding on to him, he scored 23 in the weekend. I just think there's going to be better days that come in this Knights team. So I actually would be holding him. I can see why, or even a go buy low. Even go buy low on Jermaine McEwen. I do think there is an opportunity there. Some owners might not be happy with the output that they've got. I think there's a really good player there. So and I think he's going to benefit a lot once these Knights start cooking. Yeah. Shout out to Ed Meso in the chat. He said, how about Trey Mooney? I didn't realize the next part of this question was coming. We saw the full moon. Yeah, we saw everything. Yeah, I saw what he had for breakfast, old son. Trey Mooney, though, he's been unbelievable. Like what he scored in the weekend, 123. Unbelievable. It'd be crazy if you had him as your second FRF in your team. Anyway, no notes in the reserves there to come back. So teams will probably look the same leading into the game. Saturday night, 5:30 versus 5:30. Rabbitohs versus the Sharks. I mean, if you could pick a winner in this game, good on you, because this game, again, could be like a crazy 40-36 where Sharks don't defend but score heaps of points. Are we blipping the radar for the Rabbitohs on the weekend, getting done by the Knights? Really fun game, but again, like they let the Knights score 42 points. So this is going to be a real fun one. I do like a lot of these players. Ed Cossey finds himself to a wing spot. Guys, don't go pick up Ed Cossey. I can't recommend him. It's not for me. I think they'll go hardcore left, just left all day. No Jackie Whiten this week. That looked like a bad one. So it could be a spot for the year for Cossey. Again, got hands like feet, so who knows? Ashton Ward in the 7. No Jamie Humphries in the 7 this week. So going this way. This is coach's call. Jamie Humphries is named on the bench, so coach's call. Interesting. I don't think Jamie Humphries has been all that great this year, but I mean Ashton Ward is going to be a big step up coming up against these Sharks boys. Got a big pack. Bronson Garlick named in the 9 again. Jai Gray back at fullback. So that is for the Matt Duffy guys who have been firing him up, who's been very serviceable, by the way. Very serviceable, Matt Duffy. Can't play him this week. Jai Gray is back. Kepi Aiken. There we go. There's one. Talis Duncan and Ewan Aiken in the back row. And Cam Murray at lock. Nothing crazy on the bench there. No sign of the cheese. No sign of anyone else coming back. Over to the Sharks. They are rinse and repeat. 1 through 7 from last week. Beautiful. Trindle. Trindle. Man, that guy. Anyone who has been able to pick and choose when Trindle has a game and when they don't, and it's able to fire him up in the games where he has a game and the games where he doesn't, good luck to you. That is a hell of a bounce back as a 91 from last week, isn't it? So through the forwards, Teague Wilton named in the back row, Nakora named in the back row. So Jesse Colquhoun moves back to the bench with Cam McInnes back. Billy Burns, Kafusi. Yeah, nothing really to note there apart from Nakora's back in that starting edge role. Hey, over to the Sea Eagles. Shout out to our boy Marky, big Seagulls fan, and the Broncos. 7:30 p.m. Imagine the Broncos playing at that time or not. 7:30 p.m. on Saturday down there in Seagull Land. I don't know actually where it is. 1 through 7 from last week for the Seagulls. Paseka's been good. I just think he's got some big scores in him, old Taniela Paseka. I think he does. They were pretty tough last week, to be perfectly honest, the Seagulls against the Panthers. So, yeah, Hamole's putting his hand up for Origin selection. He's been unbelievable. Pretty much the same as last week for the Eagles. Interesting matchup against the Broncos. Wouldn't probably be firing up my Clayton Fa'alongos, my Jason Saabs. I probably would leave those guys on ice for this week. I'd still be firing up Hopewati, the Coolers. That's okay. I'm not even going to talk about Ben Trebojevic. So anyone in the chat talk about Ben Trebojevic. Over to the Broncos. They took a defeat last week against the Roosters. Bit of a tough one. Reece Walsh back. Scored 86 for his owners, which is pretty solid. But again, here we go. There's a new name at the wing, Antonio Verhoeven. Apparently a pretty good young kid. I know the Warriors were after him. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that goes. Again, this is a Broncos winger. I do think they've got better days coming. There's Origin coming up too, where anything can happen. I would be, if I had a roster spot, I would be picking up Antonio. I wouldn't be spending a high flavor, really late waiver for me, just because you don't really know how long that spot's going to be there for. And yeah, just in the chat, Will says, can't believe Karapani named. Seems Karapani's injured. Surprised he's named. Yeah, Meso said back that up too. So yeah, Karapani is a wait and see. Probably got Hayes Perham on the bench, maybe come into that role. It's probably about the only back I see on their bench. So there you go for the Benny Hunt named in the 21 jumper. That could easily come into the starting spot there. Philip Coates, there you go, Philip Coates, younger brother of Xavier, apparently a winger too. Moving on to the Storm versus Tigers. That's a mad 2 p.m. 2 p.m. on a Sunday. That is going to get my mouth watering. Storm versus the Tigers. Suafalongo named at 1. He's been incredible this year. Geez, what more can you say about Sua? Like, even in that loss last week where they got absolutely pumped, still sort of 76. Looks great in open space. This one, Hugo Peel named again on the wing. Look, didn't do much for me last week. I think probably keep him on waivers again. This Melbourne team's in big trouble. And I just probably would keep that wing spot there. Absent. Sean Blore named with Lusardi again. Leo back into 13. Walsh first Sua rest of year. Jeepers. I would prefer to have Reece Walsh. Yeah, I think Sua probably scores more points because he'll still get a couple of those hundreds that Reece Walsh will get on the way back. But yeah, you're right with Walsh having Origin. Like, if you're a team in need, like say you're really struggling to get into the top of your leaderboard, and you need wins throughout Origin, your league plays as Origin guys, I definitely think taking Sua would be the way to go. But like come season ends, I would prefer to have Reece Walsh from the run home. So Will said drop Karapani for Cobbo. I mean, it looks like Cobbo is going to keep that spot on the wing, which is what we really want. With Bostock going into the centers this week against the Bulldogs, I wouldn't be dropping Karapani, dude. I think there's going to be some good days for these Broncos winners. So if I could find someone else on my roster to drop for Cobbo that I needed to plug and play this week, I would do that. Yeah, I think Cobbo is a really good pickup too. Now that we know that Jack Bosco's going to play centers, so that's pretty cool. So looking through the bench here for the Melbourne Storm, not really much to come in there. Heath Mason named at fullback for the Tigers. I think when we've seen Heath in the past, hasn't been crazy SuperCoach scores. I would love to double check that if I had some co-hosts, but apparently being sick. But I think he's only named at 5'8" too. Patrick Herbert comes back into the centers. We saw a little bit of him. Likely type, man. Patrick Herbert, not the same Patrick Herbert that we saw 5 years ago playing for one of the worst Titans teams you've ever seen in your entire life. Yeah, Poopy Wiggy says Karapani's been the bane of his existence. Every time I play, he gets 20. Yeah, dude, I'm an owner. But again, I think he's a really talented player. And I do think there's better times come for those Broncos wingers. He's from a good – no, Meso says, no relation to Heath boys, but assume he's from a good family. That's good name play there by Meso. Sione Fainu named on the edge Samuela, buddy, shoulder, arm, something like that, out for quite a long time. So, Sione Fainu, I don't know if this is his spot. Even if he starts, he's not a guy that can go big minutes. He's more of that guy through the middle who can play a solid 40, but he's not a 60 minute on the edge kind of guy. So I would expect Seyfarth to play a lot of these minutes. I think they'll cancel each other out. I don't even think like there's even room for Sione to like get at 60, 65 minutes that you probably want. I just don't think he has the size or the frame and the legs to go laterally with any of these guys. So I don't think he's going to get big minutes. Seyfarth will probably even start, to be perfectly honest. Moving through to the Sunday 4:05. Are we dropping Samuela Fainu? He's out to around 20. I knew it was quite a long time. And it's in the second round positions. Who looks a better replacement out of Bai and Dylan Egan? It's definitely Dylan Egan. He's going to have that spot. Like even first week back from injury, he's locked into that starting spot. I don't see him playing a huge 80 minutes, but like if he plays 70 and gets off a 10, I can see that happening. I'd definitely prefer Dylan Egan there. I think Bai's a really good upside, but he's not gonna play 65 minutes. Dylan Egan's gonna end up playing 80 minutes. On to the Sunday game this week, the last game of the round, actually pretty juicy game too. 4:05 p.m. We've got the Raiders versus the Panthers. Absolute mouth-watering one here. Matt Tomoka keeps that spot in the centres. He's been really good. If you have picked him up, took our advice a couple of weeks ago, picked him up, he's been fantastic. Simi Sasangi at the back row. Like if you were the Simi Sasangi owner and you said to yourself, he's not playing in centres this week, you might get slapped up, bro. Thank you. He put up a score. 109. Yep. You know how I know that, folks? Because he was up against me. Traded him away 2-3 weeks ago. Came up against him this week for 109. Very nice. Strange back into the 6-2. Weird thing they did last week. Not my thing. Jaden Brayley at the lock, named the lock again. It's one to watch. Over the Panthers, I would be greenlighting everybody in the back line apart from Blaze Talangi. I think you could probably, if you're in a pinch for 5A, you can play him this week. I don't think he's going to hurt you, but I'm going to be firing him up if I had a different option. Freddie Lussick keeps on going on. Panthers looked a little bit clunky last week. Didn't think they looked their best. Whenever they do, man, whenever they look a little bit weird, always like not polished, man, the next week they come out and do some work. So Lindsay Smith actually put up a 52, I see here, after ragging him last week. Freddie Lussick, yeah, look, the best of a bad bunch last week when we were talking about hookers. I don't think we even talked about Reed Marnie, but he put up a stupid amount. But, yeah, Freddie Lussick, he's that 40 to 50 guy. If you're a Wade Egan owner and you needed to play him this week, completely sweet with that. I think Tungo back to the bench. Yeah, of course he is. That's cool. That's about it for the teams, folks. I know it's been a bit of a quick one. I did speed through that. I will take you down the listener league route. Why not? We've got time while I'm really enjoying myself here. What am I doing? Fixtures, brah. If you got any questions, jump them in the chat. Be happy to answer them. Round 9. Beautiful. This is my home league, so this is going really well for me. Round 9, I leave my match up till last. Adolf Hitler from 8th spot, putting in 871 versus Don't Go Chasing Kurt Falls 2 weeks in a row for Braden. I don't know if he's in the chat today, but 2 weeks in a row. Watch out, son. After starting so hot. Redford, boy howdy, did not put up a score this week, 605. He's probably lucky he's not here. That actually might be the reason, listeners, why he is not here. You never know. He lost 605. He lost to 712. What a score from Munsters Inc. Jake puts up 712 and gets a win. How lucky do you run? Bearded Broncos, they are now top of the log. Just a disclaimer. Bearded Broncos, top of the log, taken over from Don't Go Chasing Kurt's Falls. He put up 902. He is running super hot. Hot Boy Galvin, Jackson Ford, Latrell Mitchell, just to name a few. I will get to that question, Meso, in 1 second. Sherry's Pie gets a 2-point victory over Wet Hair Nico. You be spewing, old son. 2-point victory. And by the way, folks, Wet Hair Nico has scored 848. He's got Greg Margie for 131, Trey Moody for 123. Teague Wilton for 100. And then everybody else is just chat the bed. tough day there for Wethead Nico. Simon gets back in the winner's spot. 891 versus 626. SJ's revenge. Like, up to yourself, old son. That is embarrassing. But no more embarrassing than my team only putting up 727 points against 12th place Silkwood Slugs. There you go, son. Kieran finally gets himself a win. I think this is maybe his third win of the year. It comes against me. Pretty embarrassing. My team just did not. Oh, to second wins. That's even better for me. So, mate, fair play to him. Put up a score. All right, let's go to the questions here. We've got Meso. Bench one. Cobo, Asako, Caller, Braden, Burns. Ooh, let me just quickly go back to the matchups because I was talking my way through those in round 10. Cobo versus the Bulldogs, Asako Bulldogs, Caller. You're pretty sure you're firing up Caller from fullback. Geez, Caller hasn't been great at fullback though, has he? All right. Definitely starting Braden Burns against the Eels. Jeez, Tolu Kula. That's a tough one. NRL matches. Where do we go? Tolu Kula, in my opinion, has been pretty bad at the back. 63 last week. I think he was on low points at halftime. 53-63. If I had to bench one of those, I would bench. I'd bench Selwyn Cobbo. I think Braden Burns is. Yeah, he's that. As Mazo said, he's. I think Caller is less damaging at fullback. Definitely less damaging at fullback. So a couple of low scores. Really tough. It feels weird to bench Caller. I think I would bench Selwyn Cobbo this week in it's the second game, first game of the round. I'd bench Cobbo. Still keep Asako going with goal kicking, and yeah, Caller and Burns. That'll be me, Meso. That would be me, old son. Just check in. Any more questions in the chat? I know this one's been a bit of a quick one, guys. Would you do Tino and Angus Crichton for Taylor May, Lukey, and Jack Williams? Tino and Angus. Are you giving away Tino and Angus Crichton? If you're giving away Tino and Angus Crichton, I would take that deal. Also, team needs. Like, if you're like myself this week, Samuel Fine, who's injured, I'm really desperate at 2RF. Like, if you're getting Lukey and Williams, who are both serviceable 2RS, Taylor May, I think, is a really good centre option too. Giving Tino, yeah, dude, I think you can give Tino and Angus Crichton. There's a chance that Angus Crichton plays Origin. Slim, I think, but that's just me. But I would definitely give Tino and Angus away. And that's also depending on if you're playing Tino at 2RF or you're playing him at front row. I think Tino's getting back to some form though, but I do think I would give away those two guys to get those three. All right, guys, if there's no more questions in the chat, sorry it's been a quick one tonight. We don't have Redford and Simon here. This has been a bit, but that's just how I roll, you know what I'm saying? Thoughts on Jaden Campbell at 6? I think he'll play the exact same role at 7. I think he'll be ball dominant. I don't think Zane Harrison's much, but I just think that Jaden Campbell will still dominate the team. I think much changes for old JC. He is, and that's the thing. If the Titans want to win, they need Jaden Campbell just absolutely pounding today. So appreciate the love in the chat, boys. Hope you have a great week. And yeah, I will wait for Redford to come on and end the vlog. I'm happy to. He's done crazy. Thank you, boys. Appreciate it. Don't know if I leave here. This is gonna.